Much to do about something.
Well, good morning. It's the 28th of January today, and yes, we're still doing the Three Rivers Challenge, January day 28. I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you're at. Thank you for joining me today. You're in the right place today. Well, I have pulled out some chicken legs from the freezer, and I've had them in here in the crock pot. That's what we're going to have for dinner. Sorry, phone made the camera fuzzy, didn't it? But there's chicken legs, seasoned chicken legs in here. And what I'm doing while these cook is I'm washing up some of this celery. And I'm going to chop this celery up and go ahead and put it in my freezer. I like to buy celery, chop it up, freeze it, and then have it ready whenever I'm cooking my recipes. Now I am just cleaning off this celery. I'm making sure I'm washing it good, rinsing it off real good. I'm going to chop it. I'm actually going to put it in the food processor, chop it very small, and put it in freezer bags so I'll have it on hand whenever I cook and have my recipes. Do the recipes. I usually use a lot of celery in soups and stews, different dishes. It adds a lot of flavor. I love the flavor of cooked celery. I also have some 2.5 pounds of spinach here that Donald and I bought the last time we went to Sam's. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get some water boiling and blanch this and put it in the freezer also so that I'll have it so that I can pull it out. So while we're pulling things out of the pantry and eating our pantry stock, we are also stocking the pantry and freezers and different areas of the kitchen so that we'll have things available for recipes later on. You know, I do most of my cooking from scratch. I'm a from scratch cooker. That's how I like it. I know what's in my food. I know how it's being cooked. And so I love to cook from scratch. So I do most of my cooking from scratch. These are ingredients that I'll have in my freezer, and I'll be able to pull them out as I need them. They'll already be chopped. They'll save me a little bit of time by going ahead and chopping these 2 bags of celery and getting them in the freezer and blanching and freezing this spinach, this 2.5 pound bag of spinach. So I've got my little food processor here. I'm going to go ahead and start processing the celery. Now I've had this cooking for probably about 3 hours. These are chicken legs, seasoned chicken legs. Me and Donald's just going to have these, and I'm going to pull some rice out of my cabinet down here and just fix a bag of rice to go with our chicken. I know it's hard for you to see in here. But I'm going to pull out, whoa, I'm going to pull out this bags of rice. I have been shopping for a can storage container to put in this cabinet so that all my cans will be on their side and be ready to be dispensed, but I have yet to find one of those. That's in the price range. So I've got the rice pulled out, so we're going to have these chicken legs, and of course it's making its own gravy down in there. So I'll be making the rice just like you would for any recipe, and we'll be eating the chicken legs and rice tonight. Well, I'm going to go ahead and chop up the celery, get them in the freezer. That'll be one thing down. This little bit of time that I take in the kitchen to get these things done, like preparing the celery, it saves me a lot of time when I'm preparing meals. I don't have to worry if I run out of fresh celery. Celery freezes well, and I know that I'll have it for making my recipes later. I just go ahead and give it a quick chop so that it'll do good in this food processor. always label whatever you put in your freezer because you think you'll recognize what it is, but things all suspiciously start looking the same when you get them in there together, so it's always best to label everything you put in your freezer. You can measure your celery in your bags if you want to. What I usually do is just fill it as much as I think that I'll use. And like this, I will probably pat this out and put it in the freezer. And then when I get ready to pull it out and use it for a recipe, I'll take my knife and just cut off what I need. And I'll measure it just like I would fresh celery. So you can measure it out or just estimate about how much you'll use as you pack it into your bags. It's an ongoing cycle as you use one thing in your pantry. As you take things out, you slowly put things in at different seasons. I can grow some celery, but not as much celery as we eat. I can grow some onions, especially spring onions, but not as much onions as we eat. So I'm continually storing up the things that I need to make from scratch meals to try to help us eat as healthy as we possibly can. It's little things like cutting the celery up and go ahead and getting it cut up in the food processor so that it's ready to use when I need it, that help me during the week to prepare from scratch meals with not as much work. See, this is already chopped up, so that helps me. If I just pull this out of the freezer, after it's frozen, I can just take what I need of it, and then this is one less step that I don't have to do when maybe we're rushed on a tired evening. It really helps. Now I cut up most of it in this food processor and I get it to this fine consistency, but I also just cut up a little bit to go in other dishes that's not quite as fine. Depending on what recipe I'm making, whether I'll need the finely minced celery that's in this food processor, or I'll just need some celery that's chopped like I'm doing here, like I have here. I'll have a variety of that in my freezer, and then I'll know what to pull out for whatever dish I'm making. If you were making a hearty vegetable soup, you might want to leave this celery whole. If you were making a delicate gnocchi or potato soup, you might want to use your minced celery. But I go ahead and chop it up in a variety of ways, and then that way I can pull out what I need when I need it. And of course, when you pull it out of the freezer, you can tell by looking at it which celery you're pulling out, whether that's the finely minced or the chopped celery. There's an obvious difference in the chopped and the minced. This is the minced. This is the chopped. So there won't be any cause for concern when it's time to pull it out of the freezer and use it. I'm going to put a little bit of butter in this pan. Go ahead and get this rice started. I'm going to put probably a half a stick of butter in this pan. Go ahead and turn it on. Now for every cup of rice, it'll take 2 cups of water. So here's the first 2 cups. This is a 2-cup measuring cup that I've got here. There's 2 more cups. So there's 6 cups of water total. And I'll be using 3 cups of rice total. But I'm going to bring this water to a boil first. And then add my rice and cover. I'll add some salt after the water comes to boil. Okay, our rice is ready. We're going to put down a plate of rice. And just put our chicken and some juices out of the chicken right on top of it.
You got some on it broke up good. With that chicken juice on there.
Now we'll put a little bit of salt and pepper on it.
Oh yeah. One more chicken.
Yeah, that's good.
My chicken leg fell apart.
Yeah, the chicken's cooked until it's falling apart. Well, this is our out of the pantry supper tonight. We're just going to go ahead and enjoy this tonight. Our chicken legs were out of the freezer and our rice was out of the cabinet here. And we put together this good meal for this evening. So we're going to go and enjoy it. Thank you for joining us. And like always, until next time.